Hello and welcome to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron and welcome back today to another live stream. It is the game review. Everton 2, Chelsea 0 at Goodison Park on Sunday afternoon. Get in, finally a win at Goodison Park. Finally a win against the top 6 side. It's been a long time, just over 2 years I believe, since we beat Manchester City at Goodison Park 4-0 when Tom Davies come on and scored an absolute worldie. Ademola Lookman scored on his debut. That's how long it's been since we've beaten a top 6 side. Everton manager Marco Silva has come out and said that must not happen again in the history of this football club. We should never ever go that length of time without beating one of the sides above us. If we've got any ambition of breaking into that top 6, any ambition of being a Champions League club, any ambition of winning trophies in the future, we cannot go that long without beating the teams that are around us. He's certainly done that on Sunday afternoon. We'll talk about the game today, of course. We'll talk about the starting lineup. We'll talk about a couple of other things as well. Marco Silva's charge from the FA has now been announced. He's been charged with improper conduct and received a fine of around £12,000. He's avoided a touchline ban, which is good news. It means that he'll obviously be on the touchline for the next few games in a couple of weeks' time after the international break, but we'll go into speaking about that in a little bit more detail in a little while. I just want to apologise that today's stream is on a Tuesday. Of course, usually the live game reviews are on a Monday night at 6:15. I was out yesterday filming with Toffee TV, doing the final word for obviously Toffee TV, and doing a couple of other videos as well. So if you haven't seen the final word for this game over on their channel, do go and check it out. I'm sure you all know Toffee TV. If you know me, then you definitely know Toffee TV. The lads are absolutely quality, and I was lucky enough to be invited down there and talk about the win, which, you know, is pretty positive. The last 2 times I've been down there, we've had a boring draw against Huddersfield and a loss against Leicester on New Year's Day, so it was nice to actually go down there and talk to Ped and Baz about, you know, Everton actually winning a game of football for once. And what better game to talk about than probably our biggest win this season, arguably. Listen, I think just off the cuff, just off the bat, I think the first half we looked a little bit scared. I think, in my opinion, we looked a little bit sheepish. We didn't seem like we wanted to go full in. We looked like we were giving Chelsea too much respect. We were definitely giving them too much of the ball in midfield. We were giving them too much time. I think our midfield drifted away. I think it drifted apart. You know, Garner sort of drifted to the right, Gomez to the left, and vice versa. So that way there was a massive hole in the middle for the likes of Jorginho and for the likes of Ross Barkley to get on the ball, even though he got absolutely booed off the park every time he touched the ball. I think Marco Silva got the lads in at half time, and you know what? You won't see a type of performance as contrasting as that. You know, if you watch any team in the Premier League this season, you won't see a performance like that where a team has looked so plain and so boring and so, you know, one-dimensional in the first half, and then come out in the second half and look like an absolutely different animal. Marco Silva said in his post-game press conference that he went into the lads at half-time and he said, listen, what you've just shown me there is not what we planned in training. That's not what we've worked on all week, and if you want to win this game, you've got to do what we've worked on all week. And the lads went out, they done what they worked on, and we ended up winning the game. And for me, that's fantastic, and for me that shows a little bit of an insight into the club and a little bit of an insight as to when fans are getting on the manager's back, when fans are jumping on Silva's back. And I'm not saying that it's not warranted, and I'm not saying that, you know, when we get beat that you shouldn't jump on his back. And I'm not sitting here going, we've won one game with the, you know, with the best team in the world, he's the best manager in the world, you know, let's forget about all the other previous losses. I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is it gives you a little bit of an insight as to the fact that even if a manager can be on a training ground, you know, week in, week out, teaching a group of lads something, if they decide to go out on the pitch on the Saturday, which is the most important day to us as fans, and show something totally different, then it stages up the manager. Like I said, the game on a Saturday or a Sunday is a small percentage of a footballer's week. It might be the most important to them. It's certainly the most important to us fans. You know, ideally, a lot of us don't really, you know, worry about what goes on at Finch Farm, you know, Monday to Friday. All we're asked about is what turns up on Saturday and Sunday and whether we get those 3 points. But to a footballer, you know, there's a lot of behind-the-scene work that goes on, and it was nice to hear Marco Silva say, you know, being honest and saying, I brought the lads in and I said, that's not what we've been practicing, so why don't you just go out and try what we've been practicing? They done it, and we ended up winning the game. And I think the second half performance was so different to the first half performance. Richarlison come out firing, Dominic Calvert-Lewin come out with with a lot more energy. Gylfi Sigurdsson come out with a lot more energy. We weren't giving Chelsea the time and space on the ball that they needed in the middle of the park to dictate the game. We got away with a couple in the first half. We got away with a couple of opportunities. Eden Hazard hitting the post, Higuain having one, Pedro having one. We got away with it, and some would say the luck was on our side. And you know what? It's about bloody time, innit? That we had a little bit of luck. It's about time that the luck was on our side, because how many games in the last 5 years, how many games this season can you count that the luck wasn't on our side and that it went against us? So it's about time. Hazard hits the post and one gets cleared off the line, and maybe we get away with one. It's about time that happens, and then we go on to win the game, because it doesn't happen very, very often. I think, like I said, the first half, realistically, you could look at it and say we were lucky to go in at 0-0, but the way we come out in the second half, it was a different animal, and I was sitting there in the ground thinking, what's going on here? This is like they've literally been given a kick up the arse, and they've literally been told that you're playing for your career here. They all come out, they were fine, and Richarlison, again, the work rate. I said, sat in there and next to me mate in the game, and I said in the first half, the one issue I have with Richarlison is sometimes when he finds himself not in the game enough, instead of wanting to get himself in the game, he just sort of stands round and feels a little bit sorry for himself and waits for the ball to come to him. And I said that was so different to when we first started seeing him at Everton, when he first obviously come, and when he played his debut against Wolves, he was chasing down everything, he was making sure he was winning the ball, he was defending, he was tagging back, whereas now he seemed a little bit, just as if he were, I'm going to stand around and I'm going to wait for the ball to come to me. Whereas the second half, it was, quite similar to that Wolves performance from Richarlison. He was running, he was chasing everything down, and of course he was in the right place at the right time. And I said it on Toffee TV yesterday, I'll say it here again today, no matter what you think about Richarlison, no matter whether you think about, he dives too much or he goes down too easy, however you want to say it, he's not in the game enough. The one thing he is more than any other Everton player on that pitch is he's in the right place at the right time. And I can't recall the amount of goals he scored this season. He scored 12, and there must a good 5 or 6 of them must be him just being in the right place at the right time where he needs to be. And that's because he gambles on the ball coming back to him. He said, I'm going to get in that position because the keeper might save that header from Dominic Calvert-Lewin, it might bounce back up, and I'm going to head it in. He gambles on, like the other day against Newcastle, I'm going to be in that position and I'm going to be there to tap in. And I think that's, a fantastic attribute for a striker. And again, the second half performance from Richarlison was one of the best I've seen in an Everton shirt. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. We'll talk, obviously, about Gylfi Sigurdsson. Gylfi Sigurdsson's penalty, again, a little bit of a slice of luck that I come back to him and he ended up burying the rebound. But listen, for me, it's not good enough. I think it is about time we start to look at a different penalty taker. It's about time we start to maybe change it about a little bit, give somebody else the penalties. I hear Dominic Calvert-Lewin was keen to take that one, but Gylfi wouldn't let him. I've seen Dominic Calvert-Lewin take penalties before for the under-23s, and he's absolutely fantastic. Luca Dean, you could only assume could hit a penalty because he could hit everything else. The lad's fantastic. I think it's about time that Gylfi takes a step away from them. I don't know what it is. I don't know whether it's a confidence issue. I don't know whether it's because he constantly changes his mind when he steps up. I don't know whether it's because he just doesn't fancy himself. I don't know, but one thing's for sure, I think he's missed 3 in front of the Gladys seat now this season, and like I said, you won't always get that look that it bounces back to you and it's an easy tapping. And he knew that with the celebration. We walked away and he was a bit like, a bit lucky with that one. And like I said, you need your penalty taker to be stepping up, prime Leighton Baines, where as soon as we get a penalty you cheer because it's a goal. You don't want to be getting a penalty and going, oh, but he's missed it. And as soon as Gylfi stepped up, again, I said to me mate sitting next to me, he's missed this. And it was just luckily enough that it bounced back into him. And I absolutely love Gylfi Sigurdsson, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much quality you have, it doesn't matter how much talent you have. If you haven't got the confidence, you shouldn't be taking penalty kicks. I'm just going to tweet this team out so everybody on Twitter knows we are live, so they can come over and have us give us a watch. Go when I'm live a little bit earlier today. I did say 6:15, but I was sitting around messing about, so I thought, you know what, we'll go live a little bit earlier and start talking about the Blues. It's always nice to go live a bit earlier when you're coming off the back of a win, isn't it? And you're excited and you're wanting to talk about the Blues, and you've now got 2 weeks off, so all as we can recall is a victory against Chelsea, and we go to West Ham next, and hopefully we can get the 3 points there as well. Mess says, come on you Blues, we fucking won a game. Bernard said, Aspie apart, Keane is our prime Maldini, effing get in. Yep, Bernard, absolutely fantastic. Again, special mention to that lad. That lad is technically unbelievable. The kid has got skill flying out of every single position in his body. He's got skill coming out his fingers, coming out his toes, coming out his dodgy barney, coming out his tattoos. He's got skill coming out everywhere. He's absolutely quality lad, and he thought he was absolutely fantastic again. on Sunday, and Michael Keane as well. A big performance from both centre-halves. I thought, don't get me wrong, I thought they both started the game a little bit sheepish. I thought they both made some, you know, questionable decisions. Yerry Mina looking a little bit like Bambi on ice at one point, but I think it's, you know, the more the game went on and the more comfortable we got in the midfield, the more comfortable the defence got. And, you know, you can say what you like about Yerry Mina sometimes and being on the ball, maybe sometimes I'm not, you know, acting quick enough, making rash decisions, but he's played Chelsea twice this season and we haven't conceded a goal. You know, I think the difference with Yerry Mina, I think the thing with Yerry Mina is he's going to need game time and there's no point bringing him in and bringing him out. Yerry Mina is our centre-half and will be our centre-half for the foreseeable future. You know, you've got Michael Keane there who, okay, signed for big money a couple of years ago and he should be there, but Kurt Zouma's on loan. There's no one saying that he's going to sign permanently next season. We've brought Yerry Mina in this summer, £30 million. He should be in that team week in, week out. There should be no excuse. I think he's more than good enough. I think he's got the capabilities to be a leader as well, which is something that we massively lack. And he's a character as well. Baz said it on Toffee TV yesterday. I'm not going to sit here and just quote what they said and take the praise for it, but Baz said on Toffee TV yesterday, he's a character and we haven't got many of them in the squad. You know, you've seen him running away, chest bumping Andre Gomez and then sliding on his arse, dancing with Richarlison. He loves it, he loves the fans, he loves to get involved, and you know, you can see in his performances they're only getting better, and plus he's an absolute giant as well. I think, I can't remember what it was, I think it was Hazard or Pedro flung a ball in and he headed it and it was like a bullet. It was like the bullet off Mario Kart. It just went vump, the ball went that way faster than anything I've ever seen. He's absolutely fantastic in the air. He's got a strong presence. He's a big lad and he wins headers as well, and he wins headers at the other end of the pitch as well. And I think Yerry Mina will only get better with game time, and I agree. I thought Michael Keane played really well yesterday as well. Where are we up to? John says, Cam, don't lie, you were really hungover from the game on Sunday. You know what? I didn't drink on Sunday. I was devastated. I thought St. Paddy's Day, the Blues are boss. We've beaten a top 6 side, you know, typical Evertonian, getting me hopes up. I thought, let's go out for a few pints. I see in town it was booming, and then I just thought, oh, life so happens to hit you that you have to be in work for 8 o'clock the next morning, so it wasn't quite like that. I come home and I pretty much chilled all night and went straight to bed, unfortunately. EFC 1878 says the lads can take so much confidence from that second half performance. We tore Chelsea apart. A team supposed to be challenging for top 4. We need to build on that now. Bring on West Ham. Exactly, and I think it's a very good point. And you know what? I was sitting there yesterday and I was thinking, I don't want to come on the stream and I don't want to start saying, we're fantastic, you know, we've won a game, that's it now, let's go forward, this, that, the other, when I've said in previous streams, literally last week, you know, at the minute I feel like even if we win a game, you know, it doesn't really matter because we could lose the next game and we'd never seem to be building any momentum up. And you know what, I still firmly believe that. I think the win against Burnley ended up meaning, you know, very little. The win against Cardiff ended up meaning very little. But I think what we could take out of yesterday, or Sunday rather, was that we beat a top 6 side. We beat a side that if it had won that game would have been joint points with Arsenal, I think, challenging for the top 4, still are challenging for the top 4. We beat a side that, you know, have just absolutely obliterated a team in whatever, the last 16 to the Europa League or whatever it is. We've beat a side there that, you know, ideally have got players good enough to challenge for the title, the likes of Eden Hazard. It wasn't a weakened Chelsea side. I don't give a shit about how good Sarri is or what their fans will try and bullshit you. I've seen some of the Chelsea fan reactions and they're absolute bollocks what they'll tell you about how they only lost because it's Sarri. No, we beat a team with Eden Hazard in the squad, who's one of the best players in the Premier League and has been for the last 6 years. We beat a team with Pedro in the squad, who's played for Barcelona, the likes of Jorginho, who teared it up in the Italian League, Kante, who, you know, has been turning it up in the Premier League for the last few years, David Luiz, who's won all sorts around the country, this Aspeler, Kepa, Abila, Guela, whatever his name is, who, you know, was meant to be the next big thing, could be breaking into the Spanish team ahead of De Gea, although I don't believe that. I think he's massively overrated. We beat a top side with some top players in, and we done that by going out in the second half and going, you know what, we're not scared of you, you're not all that great. We give you your opportunity in the first half, you didn't take it, but we come out in the second half and we went, you know what, now it's our turn, we're going to have a go now, we're going to create some opportunities, and we took our opportunities. And I don't think there's anybody that'll sit there, Everton fan, Chelsea fan or not, and say we didn't deserve the win the other day, because we did. I think we absolutely tore them to bits in the second half. We were much the better team, and like I said, we took our chances, and I think, you know, that's what we can take from that performance. Although, you know, you might sit there and we might go to West Ham and be beaten again, and, you know, you're sitting there going, oh, the Chelsea game means nothing. But I think this game does mean something for us, because it's that I don't want to say curse, I don't want to say, I don't want to go down that route, but it is sort of like a curse that we've broken. Now, we hadn't beaten a top 6 side in 2 years since Ronald Koeman, and now we've done it. We've beaten Chelsea. Okay, it might be Chelsea, they might be the worst in form one at the minute, but if we play like that, if we play like we did in the second half against Chelsea, we can beat Arsenal, and I firmly believe we will beat Arsenal if we play like that. We can give Manchester United game, and who knows, we could come away with the 3 points in that game as well. We were fantastic in the second half against Chelsea, but we have to start games like that. We can't be starting games like we did the first half, because on another day we'd have been 3-0 down at half-time. And you know what? Marco Silva come out at half-time and he said, I told the lads, what were you doing? That's not what we practiced all week. He needs to be saying, before the lads go out, do what you practiced all week. Now, don't be doing, whatever you want. Let's do what we've practiced, and let's go out and let's, play like that in the second half, in the first half against United, in the first half against Arsenal, and equally in the first half against West Ham as well, because that's a very, very winnable game that, ideally we should be winning. We've got a couple of weeks off now, obviously, for the international break. The lads will have a little bit of time to go away with the country, to have some time to refresh. Those that won't be going away with the country, the likes of Bernard, will have time to work on their fitness. Andre Gomez will have time to work on his fitness as well. And I think it was a really, really big win. It was a massive win. And you know what? What's football if your team gets a win like that and you're still sitting there going, but you've got it. Yes, of course we're wary. Of course the jury's still out for Silva. Of course, there's not going to be. I don't think there's any fan. I'm not sitting here going, right, he proved himself there. That's it. Keep him for the next 10 years. What I'm saying is, I think that win is enough for us to say, okay, he knows what he's doing and he knows what he needs to do, and the lads know what they need to do now to beat a top 6 side, to beat a side that are in European competitions that should be challenging for the league. I think he's bought himself enough time now to go into next season and to have a full transfer window. And like we said in the previous team, this is where Brands and Silva make their money now, in the transfer window. This is where we start to improve. This is where we start to buy players that are better than the players that we've got, because the players that we've got now are obviously good enough to beat a side like Chelsea and beat a side comfortably in the end, but we do need better players. We need to build on that. And like I said, there will be games again probably this season where we lose, and where games that we should be winning that we're throwing away, like the Newcastle game. But a really interesting point was brought up yesterday, actually. If you think about, since the 17-day break that we had, just because we were knocked out of all competitions and didn't have a Premier League game, we've come back. We've played Liverpool, we've played Cardiff, we've played Liverpool, we've played Newcastle, and we've played Chelsea. Now we've got three clean sheets out of 4 there. We've got 4 points out of Liverpool and Chelsea there. If you'd have said, just starting that 17 break, when we were all going, thank God we don't have to watch any more football for 17 days. Listen, you're going to come back, you're going to win, you're going to, win 2 games out of 4. You're going to get 4 points from Chelsea and Liverpool, and you're going to take 3 clean sheets. You go, snap, 100%, and we've done it. We managed to hold Liverpool to a draw at Goodison Park, beating Chelsea, beating Cardiff comfortably, and ideally, realistically, we could have had a clean sheet against Newcastle if we weren't so silly and making stupid errors, and we could have won that game as well. And that'd have been 4 wins coming off that break, going into the international break then, and that would have seen a very clear improvement since before that 17-day break. So I think the Newcastle game has really hindered the opinion from the fans, and has really sort of made us go, whoa, hang on, it hasn't all changed. But realistically, the results as a whole since that break have been a lot better. The performances have been a lot better. The atmosphere at Goodison Park has been fantastic. We'll go on to talk about the atmosphere in the side in just a moment, but I think you're 100% right. The FC 1878, we have to now go and take that into West Ham, and we have to show that, okay, we're beating a top 6 side now, let's go and beat a side that are in and around us that we should be beating, let's be honest. Mess says, Guy man marked the ball out the hell out of Jorginho, sorry, and Barkley the rat was trying to score every time he got the ball. Effing, I'm not going to say that word. Mess says, need a new penalty taker though, that was an awful pen. Yeah, Guy did mark Jorginho out the game, and I don't particularly rate that Jorginho as high as a lot of other people do. And yeah, we mentioned it before, we'll speak about it in a little bit later on in the video. Penalty taker, of course, massive talking point now with Evertonians. Who would you have? Let me know in the live comments down below. Would you give it to Dominic Calvert-Lewin? Would you say, okay lad, you've got the confidence, go for it, let's see what you can do? Would you just say to Luca Dean, listen, your boss, take the pens? Or would you, you say to Gylfi, listen, you need to come off them, even if it's just for a little while, because your confidence very clearly isn't there. If you're enjoying the stream so far, please do leave a like, rating and subscribe if you have enjoyed the channel so far. If you are enjoying the channel, if you haven't subscribed already, all that, please do so. It only takes a second. It really does help me out a lot. Ian says, is it true next season you can't score the rebound off a pen? I highly doubt that's true, to be honest with you, mate. But in this league, nothing would surprise me, to be honest. It wouldn't surprise me if they come out and said only top 6 sides could get a pen. To be honest, it's that corrupt, this league. Alfie says, we can't keep on changing through the rest of the season. Need to keep this one. Exactly, yeah. And we need to keep this performances going on. And hopefully we can do that after the international break. Dan says, I'm very happy for Marco. I think he's a good coach and a top guy. I think he'll succeed if given the time from the board and support from the fans. Exactly. And, you know, that, like I said, that post-game interview of Marco Silva coming out and saying, you know, he was asked, did you roll up the plays? It must have been some team talk. And he said, no. All as I went in and said was, that wasn't what we practiced. That wasn't what we've practiced all week. So why don't you go out and do what we've practiced? And they done that, and we won the game in the second half. And for me, that shows that he knows what he's doing as a coach, and maybe sometimes it is just a little bit of naivety from the players. And I'm not saying that every loss this season has been the players' fault, and Marco Silva can't be held accountable for it, because of course he can. And I haven't been overly impressed. I haven't been, you know, overly satisfied with Everton and Marco Silva this season, but it's very clear that, you know, he does know what he's doing, and he is a decent coach, and I think it would only be fair for us to give him time and definitely give him a summer transfer window, a full summer transfer window, back him in it and say to him and Marcel Brands, right, this is now where you're making money, let's go out and let's see what we can do. John says Sigurdsson is as bad that Rooney was, give it to Digne. You know, it's mad how a player like Gylfi Sigurdsson can hit a ball from 35 yards, top bin, no hesitation, and then it comes to taking a penalty and he bottles it. It's crazy. David says, no, Ian, the ball is still in play, so how would that become a rule? And John says, David, it's the new rule from next season. If you miss the pen, it's a goal kick, and that's it. I'm not too sure about that one. I haven't seen that one. I'll have to look that up. Mess says, oh yeah, next season there'll be a new rule where the penalty taker can't score a rebound. It has to be one of our players or it will be a foul. Never knew about that one. Listen, if that's true, bollocks, absolute bollocks. I think it's just a load of shit in it, really. How can you say if a penalty taker misses a penalty, they can't hit the rebound? Someone else. It's just I do believe that it's possibly a rule coming in, but my opinion is that it's a load of shit and it should never be a rule. But thanks for letting me know, of course. Otherwise, I'd have been none the wiser, and Gylfi Sigurdsson would have hit a rebound in next season, the ref had to give a foul, and I'd have been on the instant match reaction calling them all sorts. So thank you very much for letting me know that one. John also says, yeah, Ian, I heard it on Sky Sports News a few weeks ago, but I haven't heard anything on the new penalty rule since then. Football Fan Chat says, when's the FIFA career mode coming back? Will you live stream it? I'm going to try and sort it out in the next few weeks. Obviously, we've got a couple of weeks now without a game, so I'll try and sort it out if I can live stream it, then of course I will. And Football Fan Chat says, where do you think you'll finish this season? When do you think you can get 1k by? I don't know whether that's 1k subs. I really don't know. I'm just focusing on getting all the streams out and hoping you guys enjoy it. And if you do, obviously that's all that matters to me. Subscribers is just a number at the end of the day. I think we can finish 7th. I think we'll finish 8th. I'm just going to say 8th. David says the penalty taker can't score from the rebounds off the post, or if it's off the post or the bar. Okay. That's makes a little bit more sense. Jamie says, hi mate. Hi Jamie, hope you are okay. David says it has to touch a player apparently from what I've read. Fair enough. Shabba says, yeah, it's true, you can't score from a rebound. Jamie says that's just the Champions League, lads. Who knows? And then there's just more talk about the penalty. James says, are you sure? Like a free kick hitting the wall, a free kick taker can't do it again. That's just a madness rule. I haven't seen it. Not to say it's not true, of course. I haven't seen it, but that's just an absolute madness rule for me. It's just, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Anyway, Marco Silva starting 11 for the game on Sunday. Obviously, he made a few changes. He brought in Yerry Mina, which we knew was going to happen purely because Kurt Zouma was ineligible. Phil Jagielka's injured, and we haven't got anybody else. He brought Seamus Coleman back in again. I think that was pretty, you could have guessed that one as well. John Joe Kenny had a poor game against Newcastle, got caught out a couple of times, certainly for the first goal. And, Seamus was in that starting 11 for the Newcastle game. The only reason why he didn't start is because he had a little bit of a stomach issue. Other than that, the team remained the same. Garner, Gomez and Sigurdsson in the midfield, and Richarlison, Bernard and Dominic Calvert-Lewin up front. And like I said, the first half for me, I think we just give Chelsea a little bit too much respect. We give them a little bit too much time on the ball, and I think we just sort of said to them, you know what, you have it, and we're just going to sit back, and we're going to, almost like when an animal in the wild stalks its prey, and you just go, you know what, we're going to look at you and we're going to see what you're about first. And then it nearly bit us on the arse. That animal nearly come up and went, you know what, I'll have a bit of you as well. And we, you know, they hit the post. They had a couple of good opportunities. Thankfully for us, they weren't good enough to convert them. We then went in half time, and Marco Silva's team talk, like I said, for me, changed the game. Obviously, he come out and, you know, he said what he said. Whether he said it a little bit aggressively to them, whether he did give them a kick up the arse, who knows? But he come out and he said, listen, that's not good enough, and, you know, that's not what the fans deserve. That's not what we've done in training, so go out and do what we've done in training. And a direct quote from Marco Silva himself, he said to the players, if you want to win this game, you have to do what we've done in training. The lads went out and they done that, and we ended up winning the game of football. I thought the second half, like I said, such a difference to the first half. You know, players like Richarlison come out absolutely firing within the first 2 minutes of the second half. Dominic Calvert-Lewin chases a ball that ordinarily you'd say is a dead ball. He's chasing nothing. He runs down the wing, he chases it, he puts a really, really good ball into the box. And if Bernard had, you know, stilts on, he put it in the back of the net. It's just the fact that he's not very tall, that he didn't get on the end of it. And, you know, from that point, you know, you're sort of thinking, okay, we've come out far in here, we want this game. We're not willing to sit back, we're not willing to allow Chelsea the time and space on the ball. We're not willing to say to Chelsea, you know what, you do what you need to do, and we're just going to, you know, hope that you don't score a goal, because it was inevitable that Chelsea were going to score if we carried on in that vein and if we carried on playing like that. Obviously, you know, we get a corner kick, ball comes in, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, a fantastic header for me. Listen, I thought Dominic Calvert-Lewin was absolutely wonderful on Sunday, and I think he's been wonderful now for the last 6 weeks. I think he's a fantastic footballer. I really don't understand, and I know everyone has an opinion, and that's fair enough, but I don't understand when some fans say, you know, he's not good enough for the Premier League. I think the lad's only getting better. He's still very, very young, 22 years of age, I think, 23 years of age. He scored 6 Premier League goals this season, and, you know, he can win balls in the air, you know, and he helps his team out as well. He wins a fantastic header. Kepa can only get a touch on it, and like we mentioned earlier on in the live stream, Richarlison was where he needed to be and exactly where you would expect him to be. Right place in the right time to nod it in the roof of the net where nobody could get it, and we're 1-0 up, and all of a sudden you're sitting there thinking, okay, we're 1-0 up in the game against Chelsea in the first half where you could only see us being down. We've come out in the second half firing, we're 1-0 up, and that game for me could have gone one or two ways. Then we could have shit ourselves and gone, shit, we're 1-0 up, what happens here? And then absolutely collapsed. They could have scored 1 goal and that was it, scored another 4 and beat us 4-1. Or we could have done what we done, kept the coolness, kept the confidence, and said, right, we're going to go out and we're going to play exactly the same as we did when the first whistle of the second half went. We're going to play exactly the same as we have, you know, before the goal. We're going to just carry on in this vein. We're not going to let it affect us. It's as they say in Sunday League football, when you're a kid, it's back to 0-0. We go again, and we did go again, and we went again, and we continued to attack them. Don't get me wrong, they had a couple of half chances here and there, nothing to really trouble Everton. Jordan Pickford for me, absolutely fantastic. We'll go through the players in a minute individually. They had a couple of off chances, you know, a couple of half chances. Not much happened for them, and then of course Richarlison goes down the other end. And listen, I haven't seen it again, so I'm not going to comment too much on it, but I'm led to believe he's touched and he goes down fairly. He wins a penalty for us. Gylfi Sigurdsson steps up, and like you said, you're sitting there in the stands, me certainly sitting there thinking, he's missed it. You can just tell by his stance, you can tell by his, you know, I could tell by the look on his face, and I was sitting with me, he was standing with his back facing me, but I could just tell that he was missing that penalty. Obviously, he does miss it. But, you know, fortunate enough for the rebound to bounce back, he puts it in, it's 2-0 up, and all of a sudden you're thinking, right, we're 2-0 up here, surely not. And then you're thinking, literally a week ago we were 2-0 up against a team much worse than Chelsea, and they managed to score 3 goals and win the game. So you're still sitting there on the edge of your seat thinking, listen, anything can happen here. Anything can happen. But I think for me, the remainder of the game, we were comfortable. And I think if we didn't have that sort of mentality as Evertonians, just to be aware and not get too ahead of ourselves, we would have been sitting there thinking, we've won this game easily now. We're much the better team in the second half. We're playing better, and, you know, we're comfortable here. I think that side of being an Evertonian, that tells you even if you're 3-0 up, if there's more than 5 minutes to go, you could still lose that game. I think if we didn't have that side to us, and Everton weren't so used to bottling games like we did the other week against Newcastle, then we would have been sitting there comfortable, and it would have been quite an enjoyable second half. Don't think Chelsea posed much of a threat at all. They had an half chance here and there. They had one towards the end where I think it's Michael Keane gets the block in anyway, but if he doesn't get the block in, there's about 3 other players standing on the line to get the block in, and, you know, that's about it. We clear our lines, and you know, we go again. And I think the thing I took out of that game was, in that second half, even when we were 2-0 up, even when Chelsea were forced to put a little bit of pressure on, we didn't stop attacking. We continued to attack. Marco Silva's substitutions for me were absolutely fantastic. He brings Morgan Schneiderlin on, straight swap for Andre Gomez, pretty much like for like a player to sit in that midfield and just pass the ball around and dictate the midfield and make sure he's calm on the ball. He brings Tom Davies on, and he must have just said to Tom Davies, listen, you go and see this game out. When you get the ball, you go that way. You go that way towards our goal and you make sure it stays that way. The ball was nearly going out for a throw-in and Tom Davies makes a slide tackle on the line. I think his substitutions were absolutely fantastic. He brought Bernard off at the right point because he was tiring to bring Theo Walcott on. Theo should have had a goal, you know, going one-on-one with the goalkeeper. You know, realistically, he should be putting it away. He brought Andre Gomez off at the right time when he was looking tired. And of course, you know, bringing Tom Davies on as well, you know, made a heck of a difference because it brought that energy, it brought that, you know, sheer passion that somebody like Tom Davies does have, because, you know, he's an Evertonian, he always has been, he always will be. And I think, you know, like I said, you have to give credit when credit's due. Marco Silva got it really, really spot on. On Sunday, talking about players individually, of course, listen, nowhere to start. I'm just going to take a drink before I go into talking about Jordan Pickford, because we'll probably be ranting for about 10 minutes, but listen, I was critical of him against Newcastle in the game review. I was critical of him in the instant match reaction. I will stay critical of him because I thought, listen, what Jordan Pickford done against Newcastle, the way he approached the game was totally unacceptable for me. He put being, and I'll say it again, I've said it once, I'll say it again, he put being the pantomime villain ahead of just putting in a decent performance for Everton. He put Jordan Pickford, the goalkeeper, England's #1, all that shit, ahead of being the goalkeeper for Everton. And I understand to an extent that he wanted to wind the Newcastle fans up. Listen, Jordan Pickford isn't an Evertonian, he's a Sunderland fan, he's a Mackham through and through, and he hates Newcastle in the same way that we hate Liverpool, in the same way that if we played for Bournemouth and we went to Anfield, we'd like to wind Liverpool up. But it's no excuse for me. You know, the performance against Newcastle wasn't good enough as it is. The mistakes he made weren't good enough as they were, but the way he approached the game, the laughing when he was coming off the pitch, the laughing when he made an awful mistake to run out to a Rondon ball, and it was just the sheer fact Rondon didn't have the class to chip it over them. The laughing at that was unacceptable. But for me, you have to give credit when credit's due, and credit was certainly due on Sunday afternoon. Jordan Pickford got his head down and he was absolutely fantastic. He didn't listen to the critics, or maybe he did listen to the critics, and he said, you know what, I need a big performance here. Maybe he was fearful that he'd lose his place in the England squad because the England team had just been announced. Obviously, Gareth Southgate taking other keepers as well. Maybe he was fearful of that. But for me, what Jordan Pickford done, and it's not something we've seen a lot from him, was he put his performance ahead of Jordan Pickford, the name for me. And, you know, since the World Cup, like I said, we haven't seen a lot of that. He's been a little bit too big-headed. He's been a little bit overconfident. But I'm just going to put in a decent performance here. And I don't want people to be talking about me at the end of the game, because if they're talking about me, it means, you know, I've done something poorly, or we've been, you know, battered and I've kept us in the game. We're dominating this game of football. So there's no reason why people are going to be saying, you know, Jordan Pickford kept Everton in the game. The only way they'll be talking about me in the papers and in the news is if I make a shocker of a mistake. So I'm going to stay quiet, I'm going to do my job, and that's it. And I think he's done it fantastically. He made some absolutely fantastic saves. One specifically, I can't remember who hit it. I don't know whether it was Pedro or Hazard, but somebody hit the ball and it took a deflection and it swerved, and he made an absolutely cracking save. Another one where he tipped it over the bar. And you know what I've seen from Jordan Pickford as well is when he was tipping them over the bar and when he was saving them and making them last-ditch saves, instead of players coming up and hugging him, you know, like players do when a keeper saves a penalty and they go up and they go, yeah, you know, it's right. And you know, it's very easy for a goalkeeper, certainly a goalkeeper like Jordan Pickford, to hype that up in himself and go, yeah, smash that there, what a fucking save that was, I'm dead boss me. But he didn't. What he was doing on Sunday was he was saying, no, you've got a man there, defend this ball, defend this corner. He was demanding, he was saying to his defenders, you there, you there, you there. And that's exactly the type of performance we need to see from Jordan Pickford week in, week out. We need to be leaving Goodison Park going, oh yeah, Michael Keane was amazing, Yerry Mina was amazing, you know, Dominic Calvert-Lewin was fantastic, and then going, but you know what, Jordan Pickford was boss as well. He made about 5 or 6 very, very good saves there, and you don't notice, because that needs to become the norm for me. The norm for Jordan Pickford needs to be a performance like that on Sunday. We need to be coming out to Goodison Park going, yeah, but Pickford makes 5 saves like that every week, and that's just it now. He commands his box every week. You know, he makes he's just a quality keeper. That's what we need to be saying, not going, oh my God, Pickford had a belter game today because he made a few decent saves. That needs to be the norm now. That needs to be the norm for Jordan Pickford. And I thought, you know, credit where credit's due. Listen, I've been critical of Jordan Pickford at times this season, and I was very, very critical of him after the Newcastle game because I thought he had an absolute howler, but he was fantastic on Sunday. It was a top professional performance, and you know, he had to deal with some of the best players in the league, and he done it really, really well. We'll go into the defence now. Seamus Coleman obviously grew into the game as he does these days. I feel like that's what you're going to get from Seamus now. You're going to get performances where he starts a little bit sluggish and then he grows into the game. Luca Dean, wonderful as usual, absolutely wonderful, that guy. You know, listen, he's just a belter, isn't he? I think I'm in love. I really do think I'm in love with Luca Dean. He's just an absolute belter footballer. Yerry Mina coming in, of course, his first game in a while. I know he come off the bench against Newcastle, but his first start in a while due to Kurt Zouma being ineligible. Listen, I think, again, very similar to Seamus Coleman. He grew into the game. He made a couple of careless decisions, I'd say, in the first 15-20 minutes, but I think he grew into the game. Everything that he was, you know, given in the air, he dealt with. Everything that he was given on the floor in the second half, he dealt with. He defended really, really well, and again, he's that sort of character that you need in a squad like Everton, in a team with, you know, not many characters at all. You need a character like Yerry Mina, who's big, who's vibrant, who, you know, will dance when you score, who will tell players where they need to be, and who is an absolute monster in the box when defending, and that's what you need out of your centre-half, and I thought he put in a really, really good performance on Sunday. Michael Keane next to him again. I've said this for a while now, I've said it for the majority of this season. For me, Michael Keane plays really, really well when whoever's playing next to him plays really, really well. I think when Michael Keane's next to a centre-back that's not necessarily at the top of his game, he struggles as well, because I think he finds the pressure on him, he finds that, you know, it's all on him, and he tends to struggle, and that's why I think the Michael Keane that we seen last season playing next to Ashley Williams struggled, because he was playing next to a player that was nowhere near good enough to be playing in the Premier League, and that had an effect on him. You're now seeing him playing next to Kurt Zouma, who 99 times out of 100 is really solid, and next to Yerry Mina, who's getting into his football a lot more and is seeming like a top defender. You're seeing better performances from Michael Keane. Like I said, I thought he was absolutely fantastic. Just before we go into talking about the midfield, let's dive into the live comments, because we have missed a couple, and I want to make sure I don't miss any more live comments. Where are we? Still talking about the new penalty rule, which is a bit mad. If you've joined the stream late, basically you're not going to be able to score a rebound from a penalty if it comes off the bar or the post as of next season. I believe it has to hit a player first, which is you know, just a load of shite for me, but fair enough. John says, David, they probably took all the new rules down they had up on the website down. David says, no, you'd haven't laughed, John. It wouldn't surprise me, to be honest. The best ever says, good channel, bro. Thank you very much. I hope you are enjoying. If you are enjoying the stream so far, by the way, leads me on. Please do leave a like. It really, really does mean a lot. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe to the channel. John says, another rule I heard to David is that a play must be going off at the near sideline to them as well. A lot of rules getting discussed in the live comments today. Always good to educate ourselves about what the referees are going to try and con us with next season. In case you didn't know, if you're new to the channel, by the way, I can't stand referees. I just think they're shite in this league. Where are we? Martin says, Richarlison was good second half, got involved, but Sigurdsson again not. Prefer another striker up front with DCL who can create and get involved and always wants the ball. Love to see Lookman maybe get a go. Fair enough. I thought Richarlison was fantastic second half. I do agree with that one, and he did get involved a lot more. Obviously, he got the goal and he had another couple of opportunities as well. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, listen, I agree. I think a striker next to Dominic Calvert-Lewin will only benefit him, and I think that's what we need to get from the summer. We're going to, listen, undoubtedly we're going to sign a striker. We're going to bring a number 9 in that can, you know, score you 20-30 goals a season. Dominic Calvert-Lewin isn't that player yet. He's got a lot of potential, but he's still got a lot of time. He's very, very young. He's got a lot of time to grow, and he's not ready yet. He's not there yet, but I think we need to bring a striker in that can help Dominic Calvert-Lewin, because he's absolutely, for me, he's fantastic. He's been our most improved and probably best player of the last 6 to 12 weeks, and I think it's important that if you bring in a striker in to play week in, week out, he needs to either play next to Dom, or he needs to, you know, be a training, helping Dom, making, you know, bringing Dom on, making Dom be better at heading and making Dom's position and be better, making his hold-up play better, you know, giving him the insight knowledge of how to be a top striker, because I think he's definitely got the potential to be that. James says, Distan is a legend. He does Q&As on his Instagram story and answers them all. He is. Remember Silva and Distan, what a centre-half for Everton Football Club. Still had bags and bags of pace even at the end of his career. John says, is it crazy that Silva is fined? It should be Lee Mason that has been fined to have a performance like that. that's just the world we live in, isn't it? Silva's fine for going over and letting his opinions known, and again, another referee is being allowed to just get away with absolute murder. We've seen it this past weekend with the FA Cup and the Swansea City game. Absolute joke. John says, Ian, you'll just get a yellow card for time wasting them. I think still talking about the rule. Jamie says 11 days until the zip start, mate. Certainly. Don't forget to like I said, check out the video of me doing the Goodison zip slide after it goes up. It's on the 30th of March. The video will be out probably the week after. And if you have got any spare pennies whatsoever, still the top line of the description, there's a link to my Just Giving page. Obviously, the Goodison zip slide raising funds for Everton in the community as well. And all funds that I raise towards it will be going towards Everton in the community. And I'll be zip sliding across Goodison Park. So massive thank you if you can give absolutely anything at all. And if not, don't worry, you'll still get to see me zip sliding and risking my life for the entertainment of YouTube. But yeah, can't wait for that one. David says the player on the opposition side of the pitch to the tunnel would have to walk past half the ground. No way the FA is letting that happen. What happens when a player has a nightmare? Yeah, fair enough. I think that's in referring to players going off the pitch at other sides of the pitch rather than just where the tunnel is and the subs bench is, or a minor muscular injury. Fair enough. Jamie says, I'm glad Mina played that game. I hope he plays the next match and he continues to stay in the team. I agree, and I also hope he does as well. That guy says, I absolutely love Calvert-Lewin up front. He's obviously got bags and bags of potential. I agree 100%. David says it was only 12k. Farah pawned one of his Rolexes. Yeah, listen, it's not a massive fine, of course, but I think just the fact that he's being fined for going to a referee. Listen, we don't know what Marco Silva said, and I said this, last week. Marco Silva, for all we know, could have gone up to Lee Mason and said, listen, Lee, yeah, what was going on there? What was that? And he's got, a 12k fine for it. He could have gone up and went, listen, you baldy bastard, what you doing there? You must be blind. That's a disgraceful decision, this, that, the other. And he's got fined for that. We don't know, and we won't know. I highly doubt he hasn't made it personal and said anything like that. But we don't know, and we never will know. So I think that's how they sort of justify that fine, is the fact that no one other than the referee and Marco Silva and the officials sort of know what got said. And Jeffrey says, do you not think Big Duncan can bring him through? I think he can potentially, and he'll learn a lot from Duncan Ferguson. He will. He'll certainly learn a lot about holding the ball up. He'll learn a lot about winning headers. He'll learn a lot about being in the right positions. But it's always nice to have a player that is playing next to you on the pitch that's teaching you as well. It's always nice to have somebody to look up to that's also there doing it week in, week out. Duncan Ferguson, it's great to be training a Finch farm with Duncan Ferguson, but sometimes Dominic Calvert-Lewin's going to need that little bit of support. He's going to need that little bit of guidance during 90 minutes of a football match, and obviously Duncan Ferguson's not going to be able to throw his boots on and go and jump on the pitch. So it'll be good for Dominic Calvert-Lewin to have somebody there, have a sort of, not a role model, but have somebody to look up to and go, what, I want to be like that, playing on the pitch alongside them as well. So we're going to talking about the midfield now. Listen, Garner Gay I thought was absolutely fantastic. Top performance, ended up getting man of the match. He'd done exactly what he needed to do. He was cleaning up the ball in the midfield. He was throwing in tackles when he needed to, and he was doing the job that N'Golo Kante should have done for Chelsea, only he was doing it better for Everton. And I think Garner Gay, this season, I think I've been critical of him in terms of his passing, but overall I think in terms of winning the ball back and getting the ball back and making sure that he does that clean-up job that no one else does in our squad. I think, again, on Sunday he was absolutely fantastic. David says, baldest. I'm not baldest. My dad's bald, half my family are bald, and I'm probably going to be bald, but that's not to say that Marco Silva isn't baldest. Although he's not, I'm not going to throw that out there. He's definitely not baldest, and I just want to say, by the way, he definitely didn't call Lee Mason a baldy bastard and say you're a joke and all that. He probably realistically did just go up a little bit angry and say, what was that? And that's caused Lee Mason to go, oh, don't come near me, that's a fine. So, yeah, I'm not baldest. I'm not anythingist. I'm an Evertonist, if that makes any sense. I don't know, that probably means something that it shouldn't anyway, yeah. But, like I said, Andre Gomez next to Adesanya Gay. Another good game for Gomez. I think, he controlled the ball well in the midfield. He dictated the play well as well, especially in that second half when we started to realise that we couldn't allow Chelsea that much time on the ball. We couldn't allow Chelsea, the freedom to just walk around and do what they wanted with the ball. It got to a point in the game where Andre Gomez got tired. He started to lose his stamina. His fitness started to come into the play. And like I said, that was the point when he obviously come off for Morgan Schneiderlin, a straight swap, a swap that should have happened in the Newcastle game rather than bringing Yerry Mina on. But, you learn from your mistakes, and Marco Silva clearly learned from that. And I think Andre Gomez played well in the time he was on the pitch. Gylfi Sigurdsson, listen, I don't particularly think he was involved a lot. I think he definitely improved in the second half. He definitely was chasing balls down. He was definitely getting himself involved a lot more. He played a couple of really, really good passes through. I think he played a fantastic pass through to Theo Walcott, which was the ball that, led Theo on his way for his opportunity. But like you said, we'll talk about Gylfi Sigurdsson's penalty in just a second. But overall, it wasn't the best game he's had, but it definitely wasn't the worst game he had either. And then the front three, of course, listen, we'll speak about them as a whole. Richarlison, Bernard and Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I thought the three of them come into their own in the second half. I thought Richarlison, probably one of the best performances in the second half that I've seen Richarlison have this season in an Everton shirt. Bernard, the lad who's his class, and he's just absolutely wonderful. And Dominic Calvert-Lewin, like I said, in the last 6 weeks has just improved so much, and he's just an absolutely fantastic footballer. And like I said, he's got bags and bags of potential, and I just hope that we bring a striker in that can help him fulfil that potential. So anyway, we're going to speaking about Gylfi Sigurdsson's penalty now for just a little bit. There's not too much to say on it, but I just want to give my opinion firstly. Listen, I think it's quite clear when you miss 3 penalties in front of the Gladys seat that you clearly aren't that confident stepping up. You clearly, whether it's that he doesn't believe in his own ability, or whether that, he changes his mind last minute, whether he doesn't know what he's going to do last minute. One thing's for sure is he doesn't pick that ball up and think, I know exactly where I'm going here, and I know the keeper doesn't know where I'm going, so advantage me, it's going in. And I think, the difference is we're used to seeing such a prolific penalty taken in Leighton Baines for the last 10 years. We've seen a man that, whenever we get a penalty, and it wasn't often, but whenever we got a penalty, you knew it was going in. I think I've witnessed Leighton Baines miss 1 or 2 penalties in however many he's taken, 30, 40, however many he's taken. Every other one has been buried comfortably, and it got to a point with Leighton Baines when you would literally sit there and you would know he'd step up to take a penalty and it was going in. I think it's getting to the point now, opposite side of the scale, with Gylfi Sigurdsson, when he's taking up to take a penalty and you're thinking, he's missed it. And that's exactly what I thought on Sunday. I thought, he's missed this. And it was just, luckily enough, the rebound bounced off Kepa and it was an easy finish for him. In terms of penalty takers, listen, the obvious one for me would be Luca Dean. The obvious one would be to say, well, surely Luca Dean, he can hit a free kick, he can hit a ball, we know he can. Left-footed, plays left-back, similar to Baines, sorry. Give him the penalties, let's see what he can do. I don't know. For me, it's strange because you don't really see Luca Dean screaming for penalties, and whether that's just the character he is, whether that's just the player he is, whether he just respects the fact that he's not the penalty taker and that it's Sigurdsson, I don't know, but it might be the other end of the scale. Luca Dean might be saying, I don't want to take penalties, I'm not confident enough, I don't want to step up, that's not my game. My game is to defend and chip in with the odd free kick, chip in with the odd quality cross, but I'm not a penalty taker. Who knows? Dominic Calvert-Lewin, obviously, is a player that we know wants to take penalties. We know wanted to take that penalty on Sunday, taking a couple of penalties for the under-23s before as well, taking a couple of penalties for England as well, I believe, and every one of them he's absolutely buried, and he's buried with force, top bin as well. So I think, it's only fair that we probably give him an opportunity now. He's a striker. It will add to his goal tally. It will give him a heck of a lot more confidence as well. And at the minute, when you've got a penalty taker that looks so void of confidence when he steps up to the spot, as Gylfi Sigurdsson does, and like I said, you're not always going to get that look where it bounces straight back at you. On another day, Kepa, keeps hold of that. On another day, that goes out for a corner and we don't score from the corner. On another day, it goes out and the defender clears it, and automatically that momentum then shifts to Chelsea, and who knows what would have happened then. They might have gone up the other end, counter-attack, scored, and that could have been it then. We could have lost that game. So for me, I think we do, and I think Marco Silva does definitely need to look at the penalty situation, penalty taker situation, and maybe he needs to look at, giving the penalty to somebody else and allowing, maybe working on penalties with some of the players in training and getting to know who can take a penalty and who's got the confidence to step up as well. Jeffrey says Garner has been transformed since the PSG rumours, or since PSG. Yeah, he has, and whether that's because he's playing to leave, whether that's because he just wants to get his head down and continue playing for Everton, I don't know, but the last couple of games he has played really, really well. Jeff Jacobson says Gomez or Digne for pen till season ends. Yeah, Gomez as well, another one that is a strange one as to why he's not quite being, involved in the penalty taking situation, because you would assume that he would be a decent taker. And David says Digne could hit the president from a mile away. Sniper. Listen, he could with a free kick, definitely. He's got an absolutely fantastic left foot on him, but I don't know. The question's out there. Why, if we get another penalty this season and Gylfi Sigurdsson steps up and Luca Dean doesn't seem, that interested, doesn't seem that, sort of wanting to have the penalty and to take it, then I suppose that's when you sort of have to ask the questions and say, what's going on there then? Why isn't he wanting to take the penalty? Why isn't he wanting to step up? But anyway, I think we'll leave it there for today's team. We've been going for 50 minutes now. It's been a long one. Obviously, Everton now don't play for around about 2 weeks. We've got a break. We've got an international break. We come back. We play West Ham United away from home. A winnable game. Definitely a winnable game. A game that if we play like we did in the second half against Chelsea, I think we will win. And again, we've then got the likes of Arsenal, we've then got the likes of Manchester United after that, and again, if we play like we did in the second half against Chelsea, I think we can get points out of them games as well. Please do leave a like if you have enjoyed the stream, and if you are new, please do subscribe. Once again, a massive thank you to everybody in the live comments. It baffles me that so many people come over and watch the streams on a daily, on a weekly basis. So massive thank you to all of you, and if you're watching it as a YouTube video afterwards, leave your comments and everything we've discussed about in the comment section down below as well. What did you make of Jordan Pickford's performance? Who do you think should be the penalty taker, and what do you think about Marco Silva's fine as well? He's avoided a touchline ban, which is good for us. It means that he'll be on the touchline for the next couple of games, but 12k, I dare say it'll be covered by the club, because they'll probably say, yeah, you had every right to moan, so we'll cover that one. I've left a little box up there as well. I've filled that box just up there. It's weird this, because it's the green screen, you don't quite know which angle your finger goes at, I've left the box there. No, it's up there it is, that's it, bang on. Talking about the Siren and Z cars as well, we spoke about it on Toffee TV yesterday. It'd be really interesting to hear your thoughts on it. What do you think we should do? Do you think the Siren should be part of every game? Now, me personally, yeah, I think we should play the Siren, and I don't, listen, I'm not going to go too into it, but I don't think we should play the Siren and then Z-Cars. I think there should be a Z-Cars remix where the Siren is played and then it fades into Z-Cars, and maybe a little bit of, other sounds, maybe, some fans singing, but it fades into Z-Cars. I think they should make it one track, so it's easy to just go press play and that's it, rather than, the little bit of a calamity we had on Sunday afternoon where they sort of played the Siren. It looked like someone had gone, War Siren on YouTube, played it finished, and then they'd gone, shit, where's the Z-Cars button? It was an awkward 30 seconds, and then he sort of played Z-Cars. So I definitely think it should be used, and Marco Silva's come out and said, listen, the atmosphere has improved massively. Well, he hasn't said the atmosphere has improved, but we know as fans that the atmosphere has improved, and he's come out and said, when the atmosphere is like that, it helps the players a lot. The players have come out and said it helps the players a lot. So for me, there's no excuse to not use the Siren every game if it helps get the fans up for it. If the fans get up, if the fans start singing, if the fans start, getting involved, and that in turn helps the players perform better, and we start to win games against top 6 sides and put in decent performances against, your local rivals in Liverpool, then why would you not use it? For me, why would you not use it? But anyway, we're going to speak about the atmosphere, we're going to speak about the Siren, we're going to speak about all stuff like that in tomorrow's live stream. So don't forget to join us at 6:15 tomorrow as well. Of course, it's Wednesday, so we'll be back tomorrow for that. We'll then be back on Friday, still videos, as normal, of course, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, every single week, even throughout the international break. So don't forget to join us there as well, Friday at 6:15. But yeah, we'll be back tomorrow 6:15 with another live stream. We'll talk a little bit more about the atmosphere. We'll talk about, plans for next season. We'll talk about maybe even potentially European football, and we'll go into talking about, what we can make out of the last sort of 4 games, what we can take out of the 4 games, and how we can be excited about, the future as Evertonians, because listen, it hasn't been great this season. It's been grim at times. It really has. It's been a little bit grey, and even in the last few weeks, it's been a little bit grey. The result, even last week against Newcastle, showed that we're still not there mentally. We still haven't got the leadership that we need, but I think the result on Sunday showed that we've got the talent, and the manager can definitely set his team out to go out against top 6 sides and win games of football. David says, I've heard he looks up, sees bad and shits himself, looks right, sees bad and shits himself again, and then looks left and sees Jamesy James, Sam and Mikey D. Yeah, listen, to be honest, that's maybe what Gylfi sees, and he just thinks, what are the fans going to say in the instant match reactions, and that's it, maybe. Jeff says, I honestly think Garner is our best, most consistent player. I will hate to lose him. Hope management makes him an offer he can't refuse. He was the reason why you beat Chelsea. Fair enough. I think, it's a very valid point. David says, mixed baby shark with Z-Cast. That'd be an interesting one. And David says, Jesus, forget Europe. We can, and maybe we could get a little bit too ahead of ourselves, but listen, if we beat West Ham and then we get a result against Arsenal, we're well in the fight for Europe. We're 2 teams who are in the fight for 7th place now, Watford and Wolves, and now in an FA Cup semi-final. So the likes of Wolves will be coming up thinking, listen, we've just come up from the Championship here. If we can win an FA Cup, that's an absolutely fantastic first season in the Premier League. Watford will be thinking, we haven't won a cup since, bloody dinosaur. So if we can win a trophy, that's absolutely fantastic, and it gets you into the Europa League anyway. So let's go for the FA Cup. So I think, for me personally anyway, obviously everyone's got their own opinions, and that's fair enough, but I think personally there could be, a space opening there for us to nick 7th place and to break into a European spot. But I 100% understand where you're coming from, and we have to, you know, not get ahead of ourselves. And listen, at the end of the day, we have to go out and beat West Ham at the end of the international break. And if we're serious about getting anywhere this season and ending the season on a high European football or not, we have to go and beat West Ham at the end of the international break, and then we have to go and put a performance in like the one on Sunday against Arsenal and Manchester United, and hopefully get something out of those games as well. But anyway, that is going to do it from me. A massive thank you to everybody for watching as per usual. If you have enjoyed this team so far, please do leave a like, subscribe if you're new to the channel as well. It really does help me out a lot. And massive thanks to everybody in the live comments as per usual. And like I said, if you're watching this as a YouTube video afterwards, a massive thanks to you as well. Let me know your thoughts on the game as a whole, what you think about Marco Silva's substitutions, what do you think about Marco Silva's post-game press conference as well, coming out and saying basically I told the lads to do what they do in training and then we ended up winning the game. What do you think about Jordan Pickford's performance, and how good is Dominic Calvert-Lewin in your eyes, because he's absolutely fantastic in man. But anyway, that is going to do it from me. Don't forget to join me again at 6:15 tomorrow for another live stream. We'll be talking about all things Everton, and hopefully it'll be a little bit more of a chilled one, because we'll have time to just discuss Everton, to discuss it with the comments, and maybe throw a few questions in there as well, because obviously we haven't got a game now for 2 weeks. We've got a little bit of a break, so it'll be nice to reflect, and it's always nice to go into a break on the back of a really big win as well. But anyway, that is going to do it from me. A massive thank you for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow at 6:15. Leave a like if you have enjoyed, and I'll see you soon on the Mighty Blues.